Hello, Raiders. Welcome. Let's see. Let me bring up the sheet. Let's see. We don't want to do Moon Door. That's a full-on dungeon. It's a really long dungeon. Holy crap. We could do 8. That one's Olivier and Mueller, so you wouldn't have too much.
I would prefer that. Thank you. It's not like I can't talk. It's just really awkward right now.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll go grab Olivier and Mueller. We'll do.
Which tooth is it?
Back molar.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
Like I said, it's not like it's, it's just really awkward right now.
Your aid, please.
I'll just do one where I talk to myself. Actually, this might be the introduction of a fairly important person for the Cold Steel games. Well, at least the first Cold Steel game. I guess he's important in the Crossbow Saga too, to an extent. One month after the collapse of the Liber Arc. Banquet to celebrate the crisis' successful resolution was over, Stone and her friends having largely left the capital to go elsewhere. One of them, however, Prince Oliver to Rysay Arnor, sat rather comfortably in the ambassador's office in Gransel's Erebonian embassy. His work in the country not quite settled. I'm trying to decide if this is Ambassador Cranaw. Right, it was Cranaw, I think was the Erebonian one.
I think so.
Or if this is supposed to be Mueller. They're obviously exasperated at Olivier. It's probably Mueller because of his declaration.
Go for it.
Actually, it's probably Cranaw because Mueller already scolded Olivier for it. It's probably Cranaw. I can't believe that you Wait. Oh yeah, it is Krenna. Okay. My deepest apologies for not noticing that you were His Highness Prince Olivier sooner. Oh, I'm not surprised you never realized. I may be your prince, but my mother was a commoner. What point is there in bothering to remember my face? It's not as though I often showed myself in the palace or attended high society gatherings. Knowing me certainly isn't going to help you in moving up the ranks, my friend. There's no need to be so humble, Your Highness. Besides, I'm actually rather grateful to you, Ambassador. You gave me all kinds of useful advice during my stay here at the embassy that I'm sure will be to my benefit in the future. Moment words such as act like a man of the Empire for once in your life, and stop idling here, go home and try to do some damned work. Your Highness, Your Highness, I think you've tormented him enough for one day. The ambassador behaved in the same way any other sane man in his position. If anything, I'd say he has every right to be angry at us for keeping the truth from him for so long. But Mueller... I suppose you're right. I'll spare him any more teasing for now. He actually wasn't joking about being grateful to you, though. You truly have done admirable work over the past month. I have? Acting as a pipeline with the Empire, checking the safety of Erebonians residing in the borough, helping the international liner service to resume. And those are only the tip of the iceberg. You've done so much more. You have my deepest thanks as a prince of the Empire. I am not worthy of such praise, Your Highness. You, however, deserve the utmost for braving the danger you did flying up to the Liberarch. All of what happened seems to have caused quite the commotion in our homeland. So the people seem to be rather relieved now that they know the danger has passed. It's all thanks to your courage that they were able to rest easily. Oh, there's no point in flattering me, Ambassador. I just did what I could. Nothing more, nothing less. And I couldn't have done anything alone. All I was able to accomplish was thanks to the help of those around me. I'm fairly removed from the stereotype of Erebonians as stern, strong, and self-sufficient, if I do say so myself. As rude as it may seem to agree, perhaps you're correct. And yet, I believe your willingness to be flexible most definitely helped rather than hindered you here. I believe people like you are exactly what the Empire is going to need in the future. Regardless of how I may feel about His Excellency the Chancellor's approach. Ambassador. Well, this is a surprise. I was under the impression that you supported the Chancellor. But again, you are a noble. Does that lead you to oppose his reformist policies, perhaps? I may be a noble on paper, but I'm only a baron. All in all, I generally fall in favor of his reformist policies. Be that as it may, while this may just be the result of being in the borough for so long and being influenced by the ways of his people, I do sometimes find myself becoming frightened by his hardline approach. I can't help but wonder exactly what direction he's trying to take our old nation. Interesting. Your Highness? Oh, I was just thinking that I'm quite glad to have taken the chance to engage in such fruitful talk with you just before departing the country. I pray you will continue doing all you can to ensure the peace of the borough and the surrounding nations while I'm gone. Preferably in cooperation with Ambassador Cochrane. Yes, let's not forget her, I suppose. Still, it's true that since the non-aggression pact was signed, there's been some progress with regards to the crossbow problem. And given that it was the borough who proposed said pact, that makes my role in future negotiations very important indeed. I presume that is what you are trying to say? You are a sharp one, my good man. Excellent. Now I can return to the capital with my mind at ease. Leave everything here to me, Your Highness. I will be looking forward to hearing what you achieve back in your homeland. This is truly a country like no other. I never thought the day would come when I would hear things like that from a noble of the Empire. Indeed, he apparently somewhat less of an obstinate man than I thought he was. Perhaps this nation's very air has the power to genuinely change people. It seems to have an effect on you, too. I feel like I'm seeing a lot more smiles from you these days than I used to. I'm loath to admit it, but that may well be true. I still find myself wishing that you would learn from Liberlian's dignity and sense of restraint, however. Two qualities you don't particularly possess in any measure. In fact, you have far too much of their opposites. You say that. These qualities are the only weapon I have. I don't have much that will allow me to compete against the Chancellor. I need to use what little happens to be tucked into my corner as best I can. Have there been any changes to our plans? None. We should be able to proceed as arranged. 3 days ago, the Chancellor left the capital on tour of Eastern Erebonia. Tomorrow, he will be returning there aboard the Arce while he's still out in the east. All those who need to be made aware of our return have been given proper notice. Your arrival in Erebonia will make a real impact. Of that, I am certain. What potential obstructions to the plan are there at the present? Nothing major. There have been some movements in the Intelligence Division's 4th subdivision, but not much. There's a chance that everyone is being cautious because the Arce is involved. I'd put greater odds on the idea that everyone is just treating this as a pompous performance by you and not taking it seriously. Well, they'd be right to. It is. I have no choice but to start here, even if it means I have to use the burl. And if I'm going to put on a show, why not put on one of the finest ones the skies have ever seen? I suppose I can't argue that. Xander, wanna be the young man? Whoever this is.
I'm sorry to trouble you at this late hour, Your Highness. A message was arrived for you from,
Heimdall.
Heimdall.
There's definitely an R at the end of that.
It's,
What would you have me do?
it's Norse.
I still think, but
That explains
Norse. Why the R?
I shall call him Heimdaller.
There we go.
Because that's Old Norse. It was actually spelled with an R. The original spelling of Heimdall was with an R at the end. Really? Alright, come in.
Pardon me.
Oh, that's a voice for this character. This is a character that we will see again.
Oh.
Oh, well, you're locked in, Xander.
And he does not sound anything like that. Although this is a younger version of him than when we will see him again.
Then we can change it later.
He's going to hit puberty.
Mm,
We will see Lecter again in a future installment. He makes an appearance, and he's older by that point, because this is Estelle and Joshua are only 17 by this point. I think the next time he appears, let's see if this is this year. They're all kind of the same age, so he's probably about 17 or 18. I think he's 17 at this point, 16, 17. So he's probably like 20, 21 the next time we see him. So he's a good bit older by the next time we see him, so it's possible. Well, this one didn't Lecter. I was wondering where you'd been. I hadn't seen you all day.
Well, I've been exceptionally busy with work since this morning, I'm afraid. I'd hoped to be able to come and see you earlier since I saw you leaving tomorrow. I'm terribly sorry for not being able to.
Oh, never mind that. If that work of yours is done now, we three could enjoy some sensual quality time together for the remainder of the night. So what was the message from the Capital Secretary?
They've acknowledged receipt of His Highness's message. However, they didn't anticipate that she may be able to arrive all the way from Gransell in less than half a day. As such, they're currently in a minor panic trying to ensure everything's ready for the ceremony tomorrow.
That doesn't come as a surprise. There's nothing like the Arce when it comes to speed at home. How cruel you both are for definitely ignoring my proposal. Although it sounds as though the stage will be set in time. Now I need to decide on an outfit that will leave everyone's jaws on the floor to sweeten my arrival. Holy crap, people.
They want you to drown.
Oh dear.
Glug, glug, glug.
You need to put a cooldown on that soon.
Apparently, I
for
do.
you.
Sounds like you need to
Hydration's
chug,
always
then.
good for you.
Yes, I
Until
will
you drown.
agree with that, but you can also get overly hydrated as in I drown myself, so I would rather not.
That would be rather unfortunate, yes.
Yes, yes it would. I feel like there'd be some people that would be very sad if I did that, so let's not do that. Viewer rewards, channel points, manage rewards, edit. Where's my cooldown? Save.
Chug, chug, chug.
Oh no.
It's got a cooldown now. Jeez.
Was that my conscience? God?
No. No, Tenkino's hopped in here for a brief second.
Oh, I know.
There, I chugged the rest of my drink.
That was
Jeez.
the devil on your shoulder telling you to chug. That's what it was.
Well, depending on... Jeez. You... yeah.
What if I hydrate? Does that count?
I mean, sure. Oh, so Celtic even
I've
says
hydrated
yes.
times 3 so far.
I chugged just like 3/4 of a bottle of lemonade. I just realized what Oliver's line is.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I'm still chugging.
Oh, jeez, D. Now I have to, oh, now I have an air bubble. Oh, that's not fun. Perhaps a glistening coat and white loincloth will do the trick.
20 ounces of water. Down.
Oh, jeez.
That'd make a grand impact, all right. I almost wish I could go along and see it myself.
Please don't encourage him. You show remarkable promise for someone so young. Would you say to coming back on the Arce with me? I'd welcome your company. Work here in the borough just about done as it is, isn't it?
Your offer is certainly tempting, but I'm afraid I have another job to take care of soon. The thought is appreciated, of course.
Really? Well, that is a shame. Look with the next job of yours.
Thank you. Well, if you'll excuse me.
So that is Secretary Lieutenant Lecter Arundel. Is it safe to assume he's one of the chancellors? Almost definitely, yes. He came through Hagen Gate on foot and took up his new position at the embassy a month ago. Right around the same time we headed to the Liberarch aboard the Arce at that. There's no way that could possibly be a coincidence. No, it couldn't. Most likely possibility seems to be he's part of the intelligence division. Are you sure not doing anything regarding him all this time was a good idea? Oh, absolutely. We needed some way to find out what the Chancellor was up to, after all. We'll probably get some kind of reaction from the Chancellor through his reports at some point. Probably in about 2 weeks when the Chancellor's tour is finished. You'd planned that far ahead all along, had you? Well, in that case, I'll be sure that you're ready. I'll be counting on you, love. Oh. Something the matter. But really, it's just that the moon has come out. What a beautiful full moon it is. Strange to think that this will be the last time we'll see the moon from here. Truth be told, I'm going to miss it. Well, it looks like putting a smile on your face a little more often isn't the only thing Liberal's done for you. So into our eyes to life's natural beauty as well. But in all seriousness, we'll just have to do all we can to be able to come back and see it again one day. While we're both still alive. Indeed. The next morning. Your Majesty, Your Highness, I humbly thank you both for your generous hospitality during my stay in your fine kingdom. You're even gracious enough to humor my brazen request of escorting me back to Heimdall aboard the Arce. This debt I owe you will be repaired many times over in the future, rest assured of that. I didn't know the Queen was going to be in the scene.
That's fine.
Plot twist.
Had that for a second.
Bless you.
Oh, you needn't think of this as anything we went out of our way for. Escorting an honored guest back home is a matter of course. Particularly a guest to whom we owe a great debt of gratitude.
If you ever have the opportunity, please do come back to Liberl again in the future. I imagine Estelle and Joshua will be back by then, too. So we'll all be able to give you a nice, warm welcome.
I'm already excited for my next visit. Have they left the country yet, by the way? They're busy getting ready to leave over in Roland at the moment, I believe. I'm planning to see them off when the time comes. I see. Incidentally, while the ruins of Hamel are currently sealed off, I'll do what I can to do what I can on my end to ensure they are allowed inside. If I trouble you to pass that along to them? Certainly. Thank you very much, Your Highness. Oh, think nothing of it. It's the least I could do after all they've done for me. I owe a great deal too, Cassius. If not for your assistance, stopping that armored division from crossing into the borough wouldn't have been as simple as it was. I can say the same to you. Still, as I'm sure you're aware, that outcome will have been well within the realm of possibility for the Chancellor. I doubt he was even surprised by the incident.
Really?
Most likely not. Erebonia had nothing at all to gain from using that situation to occupy Liberl. Certainly not to the extent that it would be worth going out of their way to develop inefficient steam tanks. The only reason I can see for him doing what he did
As a show of power to surrounding nations, a statement that even without orbital power, Erebonia's army could still act. I indeed suspect that this was his true aim all along.
Goodness.
So you did notice. Global shutdown phenomenon was a complete unknown to the rest of the continent. Perhaps it might never occur again. There's always a chance it might, whether it's here or somewhere else entirely. I hear the Empire only built a relatively small number of those tanks in all, too. Certainly not enough to launch a full-scale invasion. By the sounds of it, they were just put together in Reinfort's factories using parts intended for standard orbital tanks. But as it stands, the know-how to put together tanks like that only exists in the Empire. In these unpredictable times, no other nation has the time or resources to try and develop extremely inefficient steam-powered weaponry. In a sense, because of what just happened, the Imperial Army's effect as a deterrent is even greater than ever. He's using war as a diplomatic tool, and very effectively at that.
None of this had ever occurred to me. I have a long way to go before I am fit to be the ruler of this country.
Don't beat yourself up too much about it. He's no ordinary foe to even the most hardened veterans. The Chancellor always seems to be thinking several steps ahead of the rest of the world. It's impressive no matter what we may think of his actual ideas. I'm quite the reckless fool to be trying to challenge him if I do say so myself.
Don't be silly, Your Highness.
How can you say that? How you can say that with a smile on your face is utterly beyond me.
You should focus on building yourself a strong foothold to begin with. I do hope you'll be careful. No matter what may occur, be sure to not lose sight of exactly where you stand.
Of course not, Your Majesty. If I were to go and bring shame upon myself now, I'd be wasting all the effort involved in escorting me back home. I'll be sure to take what you have said to heart.
Any guesses?
I couldn't tell you. It's probably the one...
Julia or a Hilda?
It could be Hilda, or it could be that other maid.
Hmm.
I'm not sure which one. I'm guessing woman. She didn't say young girl, which would probably be the maid, so I'm guessing it's probably Hilda.
I'll start then. Excuse me, Your Majesty.
Huh. You're right.
Yes.
Hilda?
Whatever is the matter? It's not often I see you so flustered.
My apologies, Your Majesty. It's just that a guest for you arrived all of a sudden at the castle. Ordinarily, I would not have rushed in while you were meeting with others, but the visitor is so irregular that I thought you should know at once.
Irregular? How so?
It sounds like it's about time to take my leave, then.
Actually, the visitor said he would like to greet you as well, but not just Her Majesty.
What? Hilda, just who is this visitor?
Well, he introduced himself as Chancellor Goliath
Gileath.
Osborne of the Erebonian Empire.
It looks like Goliath. It's
Gil-
Gileath.
Gileath Osborne of the Erebonian Empire.
And now we get an formal introduction to Gileath Osborne.
Oh?
Now, let me
He
get
looks
a...
like Strahd.
This, okay, minor complaint. This portrait does not do this man justice. He is terrifyingly cool looking, actually. His actual, like, the look that he has when you see him again in the first of the Cold Steel games is a much better design. I don't like this design of him.
He just looks like a bad guy.
He looks much better in Cold Steel 1.
He looks like Strahd. Come on. It's
I mean,
there.
you're not wrong.
I
In
mean-
this, absolutely.
There you go, Chris. There's your eye candy.
Okay, let me give 1 second here, because this is going to go a little wonky on me. I'm going to change so that you guys can hear his voice. Xander, this is the guy that I want you to be able to do because I can't do his voice justice. I think you'll do better at it than I am. Okay. So now you should be able to hear this audio.
I believe this will be the first time we've been able to speak one-on-one like this.
Mm.
Let me get another good sample of his voice. Let me see what is said during this. Make sure that it's not a spoiler. Nope, bad.
We stand today in the face of an uncertain future. All of you, I'm sure, are aware of what has transpired in recent weeks.
Okay, so he kind of has a bit of a groveliness to his voice
Mm-hmm.
that I struggle to get Mueller, who has a groveliness to his voice. I can't do multiple voices with that. I have one voice to do a grovelness, and that's Mueller, so...
Mm.
I just don't like his face in this portrait. It's so weird because his chin goes into his neck. Like, the angle of this portrait is just weird.
Mm. I'm adjusting effects and trying to see if I can pitch the voice a little lower.
No worries. That's a demon.
That's something straight out of Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's way
We
too...
need to play that in reverse and up a pitch, and maybe we get a secret message.
Oh, jeez.
Easter egg.
Okay, any better?
Much better.
Much better.
Yeah.
Is it still lower or no?
It's still lower.
Okay, I can't hear it, so...
I would say mild, like less demonic, but it's still on the.
It's still a
edge.
bit demonic, but it is lower.
Mhm.
It's not as demonic.
Okay. Oh, yeah, it is.
Okay. Just. Mm-hmm.
That's a little better. And it's still down, but...
That's better. It's much less evil sounding.
Yes, it sounds less
Yeah.
like demon and more like a person's voice now. So
Yeah, it's a little more... at a better pitch. I rose the gender a little bit.
Yeah, it's not as distorted.
Yeah.
feel like it does a little bit of robotic because of the robot, but I can't figure out how to turn that off.
I mean, if you don't have robot highlighted, it won't do it.
Nope, nope.
Nope,
Nope,
you're
it's
demon
demons
again.
It's demons, Jim.
Never go full demon.
Okay.
That's not terrible. It's
little
just a
better.
little bit lower.
That's like a little better. It's not too bad.
I mean, you can always say the line to try to get a sense of what it sounds like for, a sentence.
If you wanted.
I'm just, yeah, I mean, if you want to. We could do the line as many times as you want to until you're happy with the voice.
It's an honor to be granted a personal audience.
That's not bad.
Yeah, I don't think it's too bad.
No.
Do you think it's going to be higher or lower? I think it's higher a little bit, shouldn't we?
His,
Or do you think it's just not bad as it is?
I don't think it's really that bad as it is.
Pretty
Okay, I can leave it
close, I
there.
think, yeah.
Yawns are awkward right now.
I can imagine.
My yawn sounds like Chewbacca.
No, it's the
Because of your tooth.
the exposed nerve. The exposed
Oh
nerve.
yeah, I fully understand.
All right. So I'm happy with that voice if you are.
Yep, that'll work. I am Gilead Osborne, representative of the Imperial Government. My apologies for the abrupt intrusion.
So you are Chancellor Osborne.
And it's a pleasure to see you again as well, Your Highness.
That picture looks better than the full body.
He still looks like Strahd.
His chin is separate from his neck there.
Yeah, that's true. He does kind of have the same kind of like flowy locks and everything of Strahd.
Graying.
Yeah, with the one graying streak.
Touch of gray.
Yeah.
If you're saying something, Xander, we don't hear you.
It's been a year since we last met, has it not? I hope these passing months have seen you well.
Yes, a year sounds about right. Still, while I hope you forgive me for asking, just what did prompt someone of your stature to appear at the castle without warning? I'd very much like to hear your side of the story.
My apologies, Your Highness. You see, these past few days, I've been touring Eastern Arabonia on routine inspection. It's been going very smoothly, more so than I had initially anticipated. I had enough free time in my schedule to pay a cordial visit.
Oh my, is that so?
Naturally. I would have preferred to come here while the crisis was still unfolding like you yourself did, Your Highness. Unfortunately, the confusion in southern Arabonia was simply too pressing a matter, and I had no choice but to deal with that first. This was the first chance that presented itself to come here and meet directly with Her Majesty, so I acted with the utmost expediency. I hope you'll forget my lack of proper decorum in failing to give advance notice of my arrival.
That does make sense at least. Regardless, please don't concern yourself with me. No doubt you wish to offer your greetings to Her Majesty.
My thanks, Your Highness. Well then, allow me to extend my most heartfelt greetings to both of you, Queen Alicia and Princess Claudia. It's abundantly clear that the crisis that unfolded here has been quite the ordeal for yourselves and for your nation's people. You have my deepest sympathies for the hardships you have endured, as well as my commendation for bringing the situation under control.
I thank you for your kind words, Your Excellency.
If anything, we should be apologizing to you for the fact that the southern side of your nation was caught up in what should have been our problem. We should be the ones going to you, rather than having you trouble yourself to come all the way to Liberl. I beg you to accept our apologies together with my deepest thanks for coming here today.
I would never ask for apologies. I've heard what happened was the work of a shadowy organization stirring up trouble within your borders. While I meant well by sending a military force to aid you, I wouldn't have done something so careless had I known the truth of the matter. My actions were rash, foolish even, and I was rightfully reprimanded by His Imperial Majesty for them.
Oh my.
Fortunately, His Highness the Prince was able to act with all due haste to put right my misstep before even greater harm was done. I owe you a great of gratitude for that, Your Highness. And congratulations, besides, for your part in bringing an end to the crisis.
Oh, I did nothing out of the ordinary. Had a lot of help from Her Majesty, Her Highness, and Brigadier General Bright here too.
Bright, you say?
It's a pleasure to meet you, Your Excellency. I am Cassius Bright, Brigadier General in the Liberlian Royal Army.
The pleasure is all mine, I assure you. Your name is rather well known even in the Empire.
Not as much as yours is known here in Liberl, I would imagine. It's an honor to be able to speak with you in person. It's certainly a surprise to be able to, though. Coming here on a whim can't have been easy for a man as busy as yourself. Sounds as though I may have underestimated just how capable you truly are.
Not at all. I was greatly impressed to see the Royal Army's effectiveness in dealing with the tumult here. Your forces have proven powerful yet flexible, capable of dealing with emergency ably and decisively. I might go so far as to say it embodies an ideal that the Imperial Army, with its swollen ranks, could never hope to realize.
You flatter us, Your Excellency. For your part, I hear you were responsible for the establishment of the Imperial Army's famed intelligence division. Our army is in desperate need of a new one of its own, so I find myself quite envious.
It sounds as though the two of us each want what the other has.
So it does. May I ask, Your Excellency, what will you be doing now? For my part, I'm intending to leave Liberl today, so I'm afraid I won't be around much longer.
Yes, so I've been told. I believe you're intending to make your grand arrival in Heimdall aboard the famous Arcee.
I'm impressed you're already aware.
I almost wish I could return to Erebonia on board it alongside you. But alas, I'm afraid I have other business demanding my attention after I'm finished here. I'll be leaving Liberl separately this afternoon.
That is a shame. I would very much have liked to invite you to this evening's banquet.
Please, you do not need to go to such troubles on my account. I feel as though I've put you out enough showing up unannounced as I did, to say nothing of dining with such esteemed company. Still, I do have some time before the airship I'll be leaving on is due to depart. That being the case, might I ask for a little of your time, Your Highness? I have a few things I'd like to discuss with you personally.
Okay, what's his adult voice sound like?
All right, Lecter. Let me bring Lecter up.
It was all a ruse.
Lecter Arundel.
Also, reminder, every single person knows who Cassius Bright is.
An ancient dragon knows who Cassius Bright
It's-
is.
Everybody knows the name Cassius Bright.
He's
in the world.
famous.
Everybody knows.
He is a level 20 fighter. Everyone knows him.
Okay. Here is. Let me bring it back so you can hear again. All right.
Oh, hey! Are you for real? You just can't turn down a request, can you?
Oh, so he's Grant.
Kind of, yeah.
That's that was kind of what I was expecting in my mind, was him
Yeah,
to kind
he's
of be like
basically
Grant.
got Grant's kind of, and he's very similar personality to Grant too. He's very kind of nonchalant and aloof. He just kind of is there all the time.
Okay. Heh.
Yep. I need to change the stuff back. There we go. Very well. I have some matters I would actually like to discuss personally with you as well.
What a fortuitous coincidence.
Allow me to have a room arranged for the two of you to have your discussion then. Hilda, if you would.
Certainly, Your Majesty.
It's obvious that Her Majesty is quite the tea fancier, if this blend is anything to go by. The fragrance, the temperature, the taste. I'd be hard-pressed to find fault with any of it. I've always been more of a coffee man myself, but I have no doubt that I'd be content with a cup of this at my desk each morning.
As much as I agree with you, I don't believe we're here to talk about beverages. So, shall we get right to the point? What did you want to discuss with me?
I see your sojourn in Liberl has proven most fruitful.
Pardon?
When we last spoke, you struck me as a bright, flexible young man. And no doubt you still are. But now, I see you in a resilient inner strength girding those aspects. I'm sure His Majesty will be most delighted with your personal development.
Meanwhile, I see you're the same fearless man I've always known you to be. More so, even. That crushing aura about you seems to have only grown with time. As if you feed on the resentment of those who live in the territories you annex.
Such harsh words, Your Highness. Personally, I prefer the term political unification. Annex can carry such negative connotations, you know. Since the end of the 100 Days War, our army hasn't committed a single act of aggression. All our unifications have been entirely peaceful.
Oh, you're quite right about that. On the surface.
Oh?
It's amazing how similar the annexation process is every single time it happens. Starts with a small nation or independent state with an array of problems beyond repair. Those problems seem to start to worsen, after which Jaegers and other dangerous elements enter, plunging public order to an all-time low. Desperate for a solution, the local government requests the help of the Imperial Army. Before they know it, they're part of the Empire.
Well, it's not as though I can deny what you're saying. Each instance does share certain commonalities. Still, it's to be expected, an inevitable consequence of the age of unchecked growth and progress in which we live. The Imperial Army is simply acting in the Empire's best interest, helping to stabilize our neighbors for the good of the Empire.
And it's understandable that they would. I do find myself rather curious why intelligence members are going to such nations with such peculiar frequency. Well, before the problems I described worsen, no less.
Haha, I won't press as to where you came by such information, as curious as I am. But I will say this. At its most basic level, these actions are about risk management. It's because we've been acting to minimize such risks beforehand that the army has been able to successfully quell each problem in turn.
The small price of earning the disdain of the people in those nations and an increased risk of terrorism in exchange. To tell you the truth, I'm rather astounded that you had the courage to come here to Liberl on your own to begin with. After all, you've made yourself the biggest target for terrorists in all of Erebonia.
Haha, your concern is touching, Your Highness. I would ask that you not trouble yourself with my safety. I employ some very skilled subordinates tasked primarily with eliminating the risk of terrorist attacks against me.
Really now? That Lecter is one of those, I assume?
Haha, a rather peculiar fellow, isn't he? But a very useful one all the same. Working out the scheduling for this trip and taking all the necessary precautions to ward off terrorist threats were both his doing. And thanks to his commendable efforts, I can depart for Crossbell free from worries as soon as I've finished my business here.
Crossbell?
Are you surprised? I'll be participating in a top-secret discussion with the representative of the Crossbell government. Recently, a large amount of funding has been flowing into the country through Republican channels, putting our allies on the defensive. I'd always meant to visit at some point, and this seemed the perfect opportunity.
Are you out of your mind? Crossbell is full of enemies and different factions at each other's throats. I hear it's now even a hotbed for terrorists and criminal organizations because of its position as a buffer state. That really sound like a place the Erebonian Chancellor should be going, even on an unofficial visit?
I'm surprised to hear you advocating caution in the face of potential danger, Your Highness. After all, it was you who flew onto an ancient city, at great risk to your own safety, and returned unharmed after surveying it. Compared to such rousing risk-taking, my visit to Crossbow will be child's play. As I'm sure you're aware, you're regarded as something of a hero back in Erebonia now. To see a hero make a grand return befitting his newly minted legend, and aboard the famous Arcee no less. Naturally, our hero has also taken the time to ensure that every well-known newspaper and magazine are aware of his homecoming too. Oh, I have no doubt that your triumphant arrival will be every bit as glorious as it has played out in your imaginings, Your Highness. Haha. Don't be sure to capitalize on this chance as best you can to build yourself a firm foothold. I expect great things from you after all.
Wait a minute.
He has his own seed. Seed.
It is C.
great, buddy. You haven't changed a bit, huh?
Is this what you thought you were going to be doing when you started this conversation?
Nope. Really? Sounds like a ton's happened, huh? But it's nice to see you and your master are doing all right.
Claudia.
Lecter?
Well, well. Good today to you, Your Highness. I pray I'm not causing any trouble by taking a tour of the castle like this. The view from this terrace certainly is beautiful, isn't it?
What happened to you, Lecter? How did you end up working for Chancellor Osborne?
I'm sorry. I haven't the faintest idea what you mean. Are you perchance mistaking me for someone else?
Last name check.
Arendelle.
Your name is Lecter Arendelle. You were the student council president at Janus Royal Academy, which you attended before leaving suddenly 2 years ago. So no, I am not mistaking you for someone else.
Ah, but that's where you're wrong. Because my name is actually
Terrendell. He just
Well,
moves
is an
the
X
tur to his last name. He's so original.
I can certainly see how our names could become mixed up, however. They are scarily close. Still, now you know, please just call me Lek.
Don't try and joke around with me, Lecter. Do you have any idea how worried all of us were when you just disappeared without a word? You submitted your notice to leave the academy and then were never seen again. Even the otherwise calm Leo let out a cry of anger when he found out. And all Lucy could do was give a sad smile and say, "This is just like him," the whole time with tears in her eyes. Jill and Hans were heartbroken, and so was I. Yet, after all that, after all this time, you finally show yourself knowing full well that I'm here, and this is how you act? By pretending you're someone else? Lecter!
Sorry. No need for the scary glare. You're still taking things way too seriously. Looks like it'll take more than stepping up as Crown Princess to change that part of you.
Oh.
Do you know, seeing you makes me feel kind of relieved. I always figured if someone like you became Crown Princess, you'd have virtually no freedom or to do anything other than work. But from all that's reached to my ears, it sounds like you're actually doing all right for yourself. And you even made some great new friends after you left the academy, didn't you? Nice.
I sure did. Nonetheless, it's thanks to you that I was able to change it all. You were the only one who gave me the first push in the right direction. I never got the chance to thank you properly after you left. But all this time, I've always been grateful to you.
Well, consider me honored. Do I get a kiss in return?
You do not. I may feel respect toward you, but nothing romantic.
Aw, that's a bummer. There was me, all taken in by how pretty you'd become, wondering if this could be the start of something downright magical. And what happens instead? My dreams of romance and sweet smooches are crushed to nothing before they can even begin.
I know you don't mean a word of that, you know. You're looking very sharp yourself, though. It's surprising to see. every time I've seen you before today, it was in that heavily frayed uniform worn in the most sloppy way imaginable.
I think you'll find I was mainly making a fashion statement. That wasn't laziness or slobbishness. Every part of it was carefully calculated and considered to have maximum effect.
The scary thing is, I actually believe you. You always seemed as if you cared for nothing but having fun and causing trouble. Yet when it came down to it, you were wise beyond your years. And I've finally seen part of the reason behind that today. I'll ask you again, Lecter. How did you end up working for Chancellor Osborne like this? Just what happened to you between you submitting your notice to leave the Academy and now?
Do you now? I have to admit I never imagined that would be the case. On the contrary, I was expecting you to tell me to back off.
Oh, Aetius forbid! What reason would I have to suggest such a thing? After all, at the end of the day, our positions are functionally the same.
I'm not sure I understand.
Do you not think so? Personally, I find it difficult to believe that you would not harbor some hatred toward Ebonia as it is today. A grand empire clinging to the glories of a bygone era, ruled by the nobility and shackled by meaningless conventions. Am I wrong? People call me the Blood and Iron Chancellor, as though I hold the whole of Erebonia in the palm of my hand. But in reality, my position is far more tenuous. I have supporters and allies in the capital, certainly, but outside its walls, the nobility holds far more sway than any of them. And while it is true I hold a great amount of power in the form of the Imperial Army, even then, I only truly command around 70% of it. The remainder is loyal to the nobility, who also maintain their own private armies. With those factored in, my advantage shrinks substantially. So you see, I'm still very much in the midst of a battle to truly exert control.
Which is why you're building railways all over the country to expand your area of influence. You've been annexing new territory to that same end.
As I've long thought, you clearly understand me better than anyone else. That is why I'll say this once again. Work with me, Your Highness. With your support, our nation will be able to bring about real reform faster than ever. The noble faction, bloated with its centuries of decadence, can be stopped before they even have the chance to unify against us. Surely that's what you desire more than anything?
Let me just ask a simple question, Chancellor. What connection do you have with Ouroboros?
I'm afraid I'm not quite sure what you're asking. I will say this, however. I'm a firm believer in using every resource at my disposal in the name of achieving reform. That's the way I believe in handling politics.
I see. Well, it certainly does seem as though we would see eye to eye in many ways. That's all the more reason why I'm afraid I must refuse your offer.
Is that so?
Yes, I find it difficult to like the rotten noble faction that exists in the Empire. Or perhaps you're right that hate is the more appropriate word. And my feelings of fear toward your methods are far greater than my feelings of hatred toward the nobles. What you seem to be doing is trying to compel Erebonians with a delusive utopia to whip them into an enthusiastic frenzy. No doubt, by successfully convincing the people, the old guard will fall into the metaphorical firestorm created. And yet by then, the gears will have already begun turning. There will be no satisfying a roused populace with a thirst for revolution. The storm will just keep growing larger and more ravenous, engulfing anything and everything in its wake. You know this, don't you, Chancellor?
But of course. After all, that's what I intend to happen. It's the first stage of my reforms. I'd be more than happy to share further details with you if you were to decide to work with me, Your Highness. In the meantime, I wish you well in strengthening your foothold back in the Empire. Of course, if that's your intention, you'll find it a necessity to work with those nobles you so despise.
You truly do see through everything, don't you?
Well, that sounds like the noon bell. The airship should be arriving shortly. Which means it's time for me to take my leave, I'm afraid. I look forward to seeing you again in the capital in 2 weeks' time.
I take it the discussion is over then? What's wrong? You look awfully tired. Oh, nothing. I'm just feeling odd and new at what a monster I decided to pick a fight with.
Oopsie. I think it's probably about time for the airship to arrive. I'm gonna have to stop you there and get going.
What?
See you, Sieg. Next time I see you, I'll bring you some Erebonian salami as a souvenir, okay?
Wait! Are you planning to just disappear without telling me anything a second time?
Oh, got an important question for you. Did you fall in love with someone while I was away? Hit the nail on the head, huh? Aw, that's so cute. First love, right? How's that feel? Heart all flutter 1 minute, end of the world the next?
Don't you dare start teasing me. But you're right, though. I did. He rejected me in this very spot not that long ago.
Wait, you're joking, right? There's a coincidence I didn't see coming.
I'm not so sure about that. It feels like you know everything sometimes.
I'm not some kind of all-knowing, all-seeing divinity. That's what makes the world so interesting to me.
Oh.
I'm happy for you, Chloe. Knowing the pain of lost love's what makes a girl blossom, in my humble opinion. Do you feel like the whole experience lets you get a step closer to the person you want to be?
Well, what about you? Do you feel you're getting closer to becoming the person that you want to be? By being at the Chancellor's side?
Kind of hard to do that when I don't have a person I want to be to begin with. I'm just sticking with him because it feels like it'll be fun. That's all. I've been doing it since before I joined the academy, in fact.
You have?
That prince is proving surprisingly capable, but he still isn't a match for the Chancellor. Tell him to watch his back, alright? So that he doesn't get swallowed up by that monster after he gets tired of dancing.
Did he just put up a hand and walk away?
Yes. Yes, he did.
Well, dang. Goodbye, Lecter.
He did like the walk away and wave behind as he walked.
Uh-huh. No, I get the vibe. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you all for waiting. The Calabria International Airliner, bound for the Principality of Remiferia, will be departing momentarily. Please mind your footing when boarding.
Can you imagine like being stuck on the side of the thing when they're closing that quickly? You're just like, oh no!
So that was the Blood and Iron Chancellor. I can't believe he actually went out of his way to use a civilian airship when he probably has a private one of his own. I'd heard rumors about how out of the ordinary he is, but he lives up to all of them.
He keeps me on my toes, to put it playfully enough. Aside, thanks for coming all this way to see me off, Sheriff.
I was lucky. I just happened to have business here at the right time. I feel like this is going to be the last chance we get to see one another for a while, after all.
Rather unfortunate as my dream is, and always was, to live away my days in the lap of luxury, surrounded by women as beautiful as you.
Well, good luck with that. Changing the subject, though, who was the young man at the Chancellor's side? He didn't strike me as your ordinary guy.
Oh, you could tell.
But of course, I'd say I'm used to running into people who are out of the ordinary at this point. We've sure fought enough of them.
His name is Lecter Arundel. He's a secretary who was sent here by the Imperial government. Apparently, he was the one who planned out all the details of the Chancellor's visit to Liberl. I can't pretend to know much regarding his background, but he's exceptionally skilled at what he does.
Actually, I know a little.
What? Oh?
Is that true?
Yes.
Claudia explained that she attended this academy and served the council. Also mentioned about the disappearance. Unbelievable.
Then...
Someone connected to the Chancellor had visited Liberl first. He's very likely to have his own veritable information network established here long before I even came up with the idea. I think it's safe for us to assume that's the case. It also means that it's safe to assume that he knows every detail about all that's happened here since. From the coup d'etat to the crisis regarding the RRO, all of it.
This man gets more unbelievable by the minute.
He actually gave me a message to pass on to you earlier, too. Watch your back so you don't get swallowed up by that monster when you get tired of dancing.
He sure knows how to sting where it hurts, doesn't he? I feel like I can see a whole new world of pleasure opening up before my eyes. He should know better. Getting outdone at every turn like this is really not my style.
What do you mean?
Captain Schwartz, I have a little favor I'd like to ask for when we're in the air. Now Xander gets to talk to himself for a little bit.
I'm rather impressed with how Prince Oliver has come along. No matter how he chooses to act from here on, he will have his uses, to be certain.
You would say that, given that you think of everyone as your pawns. There's me, the prince, the society.
Indeed, and I am much the same. We are but pawns on this vast game board that is the Empire, where a thrill like no other will take place. But it's because you too wish to see how that game plays out that you've chosen to stand with me, is it not?
Well, hey, what can I say? Just don't forget this piece right here might not be loyal forever.
And such a betrayal would be perfectly fine by me. Or did you honestly think I'd never considered the possibility it may happen?
Just thought I'd come out and say it. How are the other Ironbloods doing, by the way?
They're all doing very well by the sound of it. At the rate things are going, there's a chance all the prince's efforts will be for naught. Perhaps I ought to hold back on him a little.
You sure don't pull any punches, do you? You know something? I wouldn't write him off so easily if I were in your shoes.
What? What? These look like...
I'm not clicking, it's auto going.
If you look out the windows on the right-hand side of the airship, you will be able to see something I couldn't read. We've been informed that it's on its way. Something is fast.
I'm not controlling. It's the game auto progressing.
I give up. This game just wrecked me with a bunch of lines back to back to back, and I'm trying my best, man.
The gist of it was Oliver basically wished them all a good time. Said may they all get home safely and have roses and be beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought there was a bigger dumbass in this world than me. And yet, here we are.
Very well, debaucherous prince. I look forward to seeing what you can do. Show me how long you can hold out against me.
Debaucherous is a great word choice for that.
And that is Olivier's, or Prince Oliver's title, the Debaucherous Prince.
Oh.
That is his title in the game. He is known as the Debaucherous Prince.
I wonder why.
Okay, I know this one was really short, but I don't think we're going to get anything more in. So I'm just going to call it here. Because none of the other things are going to be super short. And then, I mean, it's already 11 o'clock. So I'm just going to call it here. We're going to do super short. And that's kind of how I think some of these, until we get through the doors, I think it's going to be that way, where they're going to be like a door, maybe two if they're super short, but most of the doors are going to take at least an hour plus. So we're probably going to end up just kind of breaking them up basically by door.
Okay.
I was able to get through the Ren one really quick because I was the only one reading it. It's just the side effect of voice acting things. It takes longer. Just how it is. So I will be right back. Alrighty. Thank you guys for hanging out. I know this was really short. Like I was explaining, these doors episodes are going to be a lot shorter. Unless we start earlier or have more time in the evening. To get them a little bit more done faster. But otherwise they're probably going to be one, maybe two. This one was a little bit longer than I was thinking. So that's why we're cutting it off earlier. This would have ended a little bit, even 10 minutes earlier. We would have started another one. But I just don't want to start and have things run too late for us. So with that, thank you guys for watching. And we will see you next time. Bye.